on this.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the hashtag TFR Monday Motivation Zoom.
That would be Motivation Monday, but
what did I say?
Monday Motivation.
Motivation it's Monday Zoom. It's all good. And we are Dr. Dania Marcinellos coming to you on a happy Memorial Day version of the TFR Motivation Monday call. We're just so excited and honored that you're here. We have some great information to share with you, but tell them first before we get into the information about this YouTube channel, which we just changed the look of.
Yeah, you know, it's exactly for days like today or days that you're busy and you're not able to be on here with us live. We always take these recordings and we upload them to YouTube. You can find it at Team Freedom Reigns. So go to YouTube, search Team Freedom Reigns, subscribe, ring the bell, ask for notifications. So every single time we upload content that you get exactly what you need for the week for your motivation. So welcome everybody. So let's go ahead and move into the call because it is Memorial Day. And so we wanted to make sure that we honored your time, but most importantly, honored those who have gone and fought, that have chose to, and seriously, they volunteer to step in front of harm's way in order for us to be able to experience the freedoms that we have every single day. We have so many freedoms that other countries don't have. Even though our country is kind of in a difficult place right now, we are still the best country with the most freedoms. And we know that there's many people that may be listening to this that aren't from the United States, but we want you to know that we honor you as well. But today we are honoring those men and women that have gone to war, that felt fear, and they did it anyway. And they died in that service. So thank you so much. We honor you in your choices. We honor you in our thoughts and in how we understand you knew how important what you were doing. So thank you, and thank you to your families as well, because this is definitely, it's a family affair when it comes to the military. Having an adult son that was in the Army and was retired medically with Purple Heart, I was blessed he came home alive. And so I cannot even imagine.
But some of his friends didn't.
No, I can't even imagine being the mother of those. So we honor the families as well. Yes. So thank you guys for being here with us on Memorial Day. But we want to talk about all of those that have gone to war, because we want to honor the drafted and the volunteers that have died in service to us. It was clear up until 1973 at the end of the Vietnam War that you could still be drafted to go to war and to fight in the military. You know, if you were drafted, you really didn't have a choice in the matter, but you still went and you did your job. And then after that time period, you have the choice, right? Mm-hmm. And so many decided that that was what they wanted to do, that they personally made that decision to go to war and to fight, to support our freedoms, to support every single one of us, even though they didn't know us. They chose to go and put their life in harm's way to defend us, to defend our freedoms. And that's for all the generations to come.
Yeah, I think my father's generation was the last generation to actually be drafted. So next year, it'll be 50 years since the draft was done away with, and it's been volunteer ever since. And my brother volunteered for the Air Force. My sister volunteered for the Air Force. Our oldest son volunteered for the Army. And we know many, many people that have volunteered to go to a foreign land and possibly fight. Not all of them entered when it was wartime, but they all knew that it was a potential risk and did it anyway. And many of them went in during wartime, knowing that there was a good possibility of deployment and that they're fighting for the freedoms that oftentimes we unfortunately take for granted. But today, more than any other day, and it shouldn't be just one day a year, we should always, when the opportunity presents itself or we're reminded of it, to honor those that go and fight for and have lost the battle in doing so, but to support our freedoms. And I saw a picture today that today is one of the biggest days of the year for people and their families to be out on the beach. But it said this family is out on the beach because this family gave their life on the beach, and it showed with the people storming the beaches in Normandy. And just to put those two things together, watching people die on a beach so that we could live and celebrate on a beach is oftentimes what we don't, or what we take for granted here in America, because we do have so much freedoms. But today is a very important day for us to say thank you. for those that have fallen to give these freedoms to us.
Yeah, so I was inspired earlier with this call topic. I wasn't in the military, but being a police officer, being a first responder, and being the person that would respond to 911 calls, I would often get asked, it's like, Marcy, weren't you afraid? Weren't you scared going into those situations? And when you think about it, it's like, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes I was scared out of my wits, right? I was so scared for what I was going to have to go to the unknown, not knowing what was going to happen, whether or not I would be going home the next morning after the end of my shift or not. And yet my response was, someone had to do it. Because if someone didn't respond, if someone didn't go, if somebody didn't show up, then maybe a child would be, abused or worse, or a mother or a father or a family would become victims if I didn't go, even though I was feeling this great fear. And that is something that, whether these men and women were drafted or whether they were volunteered or they volunteered themselves, their reasons were greater than their fears, because every single one of them felt fear. It's a human response to protecting ourselves, right? It's that fight or flight. Fear is part of humanness, right? But then it's the next choice. It's that next decision of what you're going to do with that fear. Are you going to let fear stall you and keep you from what you should be doing? Or are you going to feel the fear and do it anyway? Because that's what these military men and women did. They were all afraid. They all knew what the potential outcome could be for them personally, but it was their why that was so much greater than what their own personal feelings were. And that's why they did it anyway, because the reasons why were so great. It had to do with every single one of us. It has to do with balance in the world. It has to do with our freedoms with the Constitution. It has to do with family freedoms, being able to, whether it's say what you want to say, or be able to worship the way you want to worship, or to experience all of the different freedoms that we have because of all of these men and women that gave their lives for us. Even though they felt the fear, they did it anyway.
Courage.
Courage.
In the face of fear.
Yes. Yes. And Dondi said something earlier when we were first starting the call, and he said, Happy Memorial Day. Every time I hear that, it kind of like, it sits weird with me. Happy Memorial Day. We're thinking about men and women that gave their lives. And I don't feel very happy about that. I feel grateful. I honor them, and I am thankful that they chose to do what they did so that we could experience the freedoms that we have today. But I don't feel happy about it. And so I don't like just thinking about these men and women on one day a year. I would much rather live my life in a way that honors them. And I think that each and every one of you would probably be in the same boat as me in those thoughts and those feelings, just because, we are here for a reason, and we're all pretty like-minded. And so I'm pretty sure that you're probably thinking the same things that I'm saying right now. And so I want us to think about how we can honor the fallen every single day. How can we remember what they have done in their sacrifices so that we have the freedoms to do the things that we want to do, whether it's in our families, whether it's in our religion, whether it's in our households, or whether it's outside and we want to do something that's protected under those freedoms in the Constitution. We wouldn't have that without these men and women. But what are we willing to do to honor them every single day? Well, I would challenge us to feel the fear and do it anyway. Because so many of us are stuck in our fear that it's keeping us away from doing the things that are simple things, especially when you start to compare it to what these men and women that died in war did for us. They felt the fear and they died anyway. What fears are you letting keep you from doing the things that you should be doing? And one of the things we have to consider is, if you are allowing the fear of making a phone call, or the fear of getting a no, the fear of being judged, the fear of not being successful, the fear of making money, or any fear stop you from doing the simple things that it takes to build your business, then maybe you haven't figured out your why yet. And it's not great enough for you to feel the fear and to do it anyway.
Yeah, and the blessing with this is none of us have to die doing what we're doing, but maybe some people will if we don't, because it's not just in war situations that people's lives are taken. People, unfortunately, because of the way things are in the world, are taking their own lives or taking the lives of others because they see no way out, or they just see that it's too dark to live, for happiness or whatever the case may be. And I think there's a lot of, on today, especially when we're looking at facing our fears and doing it anyway for the benefit and the blessing of other people, that I'm not saying by any means being part of a network marketing company is as honorable as serving your country, but it is a very honorable profession.
Yes.
And when we face our fears and we face our courage and we face the pending no's and judgments, we can provide freedom, financial freedom, freedom from health challenges. Maybe you don't get that in war, which it's a lot more freedoms perhaps, but there are certain freedoms that the business model that we've all chosen here with LifeVantage can offer freedoms as well. But there is a lot of fear. There is a lot of potential judgment. There is a lot of trepidation and unknown and uncertainties of how things are going to come out with this, just as there is in any kind of a situation where you go fight for your country. But here, we don't have to worry about perishing as a result of it, but we may be able to, or maybe our legacies aren't going to be as deep. We're not going to bless as many people if we allow fear to hold us back, or our own judgment to hold us back, or our own self-limiting beliefs to hold us back. And today we just challenge you to kind of use the example of having fear and doing it anyway, knowing you won't pay the ultimate sacrifice. But what if you could just live a higher caliber of life, and in doing so, give other people permission to do the same by having more financial freedom than perhaps they have at this moment, or more emotional freedom, or family freedoms, or the ability to go do more things with the amount of time, the set amount of time that we have, because they have more options. And with more options comes more freedom. So again, not a direct parallel, but there's a lot of similarities in what we do as network marketers, that when we have the ability to face our fears, but just like others, no one who ever gave their life in battle wasn't at first fearful. And they chose to do it anyway because the purpose was greater, the freedom was greater, their reasons why were greater, and they paid the ultimate sacrifice. And we just want to honor them and challenge you to do the same things in your own immediate sphere with your LifeVantage business to help other people have a higher level of freedom that they may currently have by facing your fear and doing it anyway. Make that phone call, do that follow-up, reach out for that invite, send that link, whatever it may be, challenge your own fear and do it anyway.
Yes. So I want you to just think about this from this day forward. When you start to feel fear, consider what you would not have if those men and women had not faced their fears when they went to war, because they did it for you. Even though you are a perfect stranger to them, and maybe they came decades before you were born, they still did it for you and for future generations. So what will you do from this day forward in facing your fears to be able to help your friends and your family that you know, and then those people that you don't know that are perfect strangers to you, that by you saying yes, feeling your fear and doing the actions anyway is going to open up doors to new freedoms to each and every person that is touched because you said yes and because you did it anyway. So guys, we love you so, so very much. And Mary Ellen, I agree, Linda is not small, and every single one of us have been given a mission and a calling, and that's why we're here, and that's why we're here at this time, and why we have this opportunity in our hands, is because God knew that we were capable and that we would be able to do great things with it. So every single one of you is important. Every single one of you has a purpose, and every single one of you has more of an impact to make than you are even fathoming right now. Okay, so much more, because you are amazing and we believe in you, we see you, and we are so grateful for every single one of you. And so let's continue we want to let you guys go here quickly now. We wanted this to be a short call so that you could get back to whatever celebration that you are having today on this holiday. But I challenge you again, it's like, let's take this into a daily honoring by our actions and how we choose to live our lives and how we choose to go after our dreams, because that's a freedom in itself. Living somewhere that allows us to chase our dreams and to do something more than what someone tells us we can have and do, that right there came off of the shoulders of those men and women that we're honoring today on Memorial Day. So we love you guys. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Is there anything you want to say to?
Just in closing, let your courage be contagious, because it truly is. When some people watch an individual overcome their fear and be brave and courageous, and watch other people benefit accordingly from that, it is contagious. It gives people permission to do the same thing. We all have that ability every single day with this thing we call our LifeVantage distributorship. So thank you all. Happy Memorial Day to all of you. And if you're grieving the loss of someone in your family, we grieve with you, and we're grateful with you. Have a wonderful day, everybody. We love you.
God bless you guys.